thank you. Sorry to be a little bit late. Appreciate you being here, and those of you who could join us online. Just want to go a little bit over some of the stuff from this week and then open it up to questions. We, as of now, have Senate GOP agenda online at oksenate.gov/OKSenateGOP. And we will be unveiling that over time in more specifics on the issues. But if you go there and you have any questions on it, please let me know. We're doing a little less fanfare than we typically do on an agenda just because of COVID and trying to we normally have my whole caucus standing behind me in the presentation, but this was a product of 4 months worth of work by a committee that I assigned and then was approved unanimously by our Senate GOP caucus about rebuilding Oklahoma's economy and getting through COVID and many other important issues. We can go over that at a later date too. I just wanted to draw your attention to it. We will be promoting things week by week. And then the select committee that I mentioned in the press conference with the governor and the speaker, the attorney general and others, has been named internally now, and that is Senator Leawright, Senator Taylor, they'll be the chair and vice chair respectively, Senator Allen, Senator Montgomery, and then the minority leader selected Senator Boren to represent her caucus on that committee. You'll start to see work from them, probably in a joint fashion with our House counterparts as we go forward to see what really caused the issue. Was our infrastructure adequate? Was our guidelines adequate? And having questions on that. There's work ongoing with the people who were at the press conference plus others about trying to get to the bottom of really how does Oklahoma go forward on this, on the utility bills, natural gas, other issues. So there'll be more forthcoming on that. Our work continues, and indeed I'm still meeting on that later today. And so again, I appreciate you all being here and look forward to any questions you may have.
This is my first time using this.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so the House today, they passed, I think it was House Bill 1236, and it would essentially, they say it would allow a majority vote of the legislature to nullify federal actions, whether they're orders, executive orders from the president, congressional actions, federal agency rules. Is that going to make any headway in the Senate?
We'll have to judge it on its merits. I have, you said a trigger word of mine, nullify, which we've talked about over time, but I'll have to judge the bill on its merits. I've not read the bill. I'm aware of the bill. I've seen some media reports on the bill, and I know they passed it today, but I have not looked at the language of the bill yet. We'll judge it on its merits when it comes over.
A couple of major pieces of legislation have been filed and advanced through the full House so far. A couple of education measures the other day. If I were to bet, you're not necessarily going to rush them through next week, but is there anything that the House has sent over that you might fast track or that we should look for? And you usually take a methodical approach in the Senate. I mean that in a good way.
Both the Senate and me personally are very methodical in the way we deal with bills. So obviously the open transfer bill also passed out of our committee this week. Senator Pugh passed that out of the Education Committee earlier this week. We have an opportunity to look at that vehicle, and when they send it over to us, it obviously is eligible to be heard in committee. There are no plans at this time to try to bring direct to calendar or anything like that. We still have the 2.5 weeks before the bills that originated in the Senate conclude on their deadline, and those bills will take first priority.
All right, we have a question from remote participants. Captain Sweeney, go ahead. Hang on one second. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you so much for doing this. I was just wondering, we're talking about some of your legislative priorities. I'm covering health now, and I noticed that in a lot of the HHS and other health-related committees, we're seeing a lot of abortion bills. I was wondering if that was still going to be a priority this session, and whether the ideological and political shifts on the Supreme Court, both on the federal and state levels, were going to affect that at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Protecting the sanctity of life of the unborn and all the way through natural death has been a priority of mine and of the Senate for a very long time, Senate Republicans in particular. That hasn't changed. We continue to pursue those, and anything that can save lives will be a huge priority to me personally and a huge priority to our caucus. The change on the judicial makeup on the federal side and on the state side really hasn't weighed in on whether or not we go to that policy. Obviously, there's some of us that have more hope going into it, but it has not driven us filing these bills or pursuing these policies. This is just what we have done for a very long time, and the whole reason I got involved in the political arena in the first place was to save unborn lives and to underscore the sanctity of life all the way through natural death. Thank you.
Have you, I happened to overhear an executive nomination briefing, I guess, the other day in a senator's office, and it made me wonder if there was anything new this year you guys are doing with executive noms, or whether you had, had any more guidance for the governor ahead of time as he makes selections for things. I know in the past you've had concerns, and certainly the issue with former Commissioner Cox was well documented, and then we've talked about some people have concerns about state board of regents for universities not living, within the boundaries of the state of Oklahoma, things like that. Have you talked with the governor about any of that this year so far?
Executive noms are an ongoing conversation between myself and the governor. The communication level has improved, and we talk through exec noms on the front end many times, not every time, but many times. And I appreciate his level of communication, him and his office's level of communication with us thus far this year. I don't think, Aaron, do you have any more?
I don't think, no one's let me know in the chat. Anyone?
Anything else we should be on the lookout for next week or anything?
Those are always traps. I don't like those questions.
I help you do my job for me.
Yeah. I always love when reporters, all of you are good at what you do, and you always ask, is there anything I left off? And that's where the traps always are laid. But no, I appreciate it very much, and I think you'll see a lot more conversation out of us next week on the utility issue that we talked about in the joint press conference earlier this week. So I would make sure you focus some on that if your readers or your viewers are interested in that. But other than that, I'm not going to answer your question.
Perfect.
All right. I appreciate you all.